Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. And as always, got to give a big shout out to everyone that's been tuning in through our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook group, HHDG. As always, this is made possible through our company, HHDG Media Inc., which consists of our 5 owners, Rock Vader KB, T. Smith, Demir, Skelly Top, and myself. As you can see in our bottom banner, you can go to our website, hhtgmedia.com. There we have our previous written interviews as well as music, upcoming events, and also our merch. Now, for tonight, we have a very talented producer who definitely expresses positivity in many ways, not just through the music that we have been blessed to hear, not just through her IG, but as well as her projects that you can go and check out on her Bandcamp, which I will provide that link throughout this interview. She also has been very, how would I say this? She's one of those musical talents that, there were certain glimpses early on in her childhood, which we'll talk about, and they've come to fruition now with her production and her love of loops and instrumentals. She recently has a project out right now with, make sure I'm saying this right, Gutter to Glory Music, which actually they have 2 projects out, but the most recent one is Walk With Me, and the previous was Catch a Train. We'll definitely dive into how she came to be with the production and what really sparked it and the amazing ways that she can help others, how she came to with the production. And because there's a lot of people that go through certain things in their life, and she found her calling with the music. So it's definitely a blessing that I'm sure with those that listen tonight and in the future will help them as well. So without further ado, Manhattan born, Bronx and Long Island raised, I'd like to introduce Ellie Rizoa.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Yes.
How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for taking the time to get to know me and get to know my story and all that stuff. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, before we even talk about, what you've been amazing me with and your diversity with the production on the SP 404, there's a connection from current times to the past that I was interested in, and that's the synesthesia.
Yeah.
Now, you said when you were a child that you saw all these colors vividly,
Yeah.
and when you started to learn to read, they slowly start to fade. So my first question for tonight is, currently, how is that for you?
It's okay. I feel like that's kind of why I my synesthesia, it doesn't really I really have to concentrate in order for it to actually kind of have it happen or whatever. But that's why I mostly stick to instrumentals when it comes to listening to music. The lyrics, lovely lyrics in general. But they kind of they block that for me. So I feel like the more immersed I am in the actual sound production of things, the more I'm able to bring that to light, the synesthesia.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So um, it's been how it has been the past 20 odd years that I've been
Mhm.
kind of experiencing it. Um, so, and that, when it comes to that, it's it's like a win lose because I feel like back when it was when I was a child, things were so vivid. But that's because I didn't understand anything, when it comes to life. So I was just kind of going with how I guess the depth of the sound itself. I don't think I'm
Right.
able to tap into that the way that I did when I was a child.
Hmm.
Uh, there's like a innocence to that that I feel like once I became an adult, it's hard to tap into like I did when I was a kid at least. But yeah,
True, true. Yep. And they say that as we get older and mature, that we lose some of our innocence and you know the fun in life as we did as
mm,
a child, because like you were just mentioning, it's different.
it,
So when it comes to you producing, does that kind of bring kind of that childhood feel?
it depends on the sample I use.
Okay.
There are certain samples that trigger some kind of nostalgia, and that nostalgia is what will trigger the synesthesia for me nowadays. If I feel like I can put myself the way I was when I was younger, it will come back to me like it's nothing. So if I listen to something like Naughty by Nature, anything anything having to do with that, it will trigger that immediately. Why? How? I don't know. It's just that kind of boom bap old school sound that it just that's what triggers it for me now. Um, but not to the extent that I it was when I was a kid. But yeah,
That's great. That's great. Now, growing up, your mother's Dominican and your father's Puerto Rican.
hmm
You got a gumbo of music
yeah.
already from the culture, but also outside of the music that they came upon. What else did you hear growing up?
Growing up, it was a mixed bag. Well, I wouldn't say mixed bag. I would say when I was living in the Bronx, it was urban music, mostly urban music. You know, the hip hop. If
Hmm.
it wasn't like the salsa, merengue, bachata, it was hip hop. So back then what was popular, like Biggie, TLC, uh,
Okay.
Boys to Men, like that '90s, late '90s. That's what kind of summed up my childhood. So that sound, and also what was popular? Oh, like late '90s dancehall music. For some
Ah,
reason, that was yes, yes. So that was my childhood. That's what shaped a lot of it. Um, and then once I moved here to Long Island, I was 5. Um, that's when I started getting introduced to the more pop music. That was the let me see. That was like the boy bands like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and later on it was uh just all these other bands that I was not introduced to back when I was in the Bronx.
right.
That's that's where I got my exposure, like here. Like um so then that's when things became like a mixed bag for me, and then I started dabbling into there was a point where I was really into like what was it? It was like rock, but mostly like I think it was back in like my preteens. I was into like really into anime. So anything
Okay.
involving like Japanese rock, like that was like my
Hmm.
I was in a phase for a while. And then I would jump into then later on I jumped into house music. House music, it was like a huge thing for me. I think I mentioned this before, but like if I wasn't like a hip hop like producer, I would definitely be a house music producer for some reason that like getting into that always gets me like in like a happy mood. Um, and then from there, that's how my sound is kind of shaped. I'm like taking bits and pieces, but it's like bits and pieces that I have a like an emotional attachment to. That's what I use to make my music every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love hearing stories like that because it's not always just in the house, but it's also, like you said, the environment, and then when you move like that. So
Yeah.
I guess it was a bit of I guess in a way, a little bit of a culture change,
Yeah.
moving to Long Island.
Yeah, it was definitely a culture change for sure. There was a lot of things that I had to that I learned. the easy way and the hard way about,
Mhm.
the shift in culture.
Yeah.
Like for a while, I was one of the only minorities in the class. I was raised in
Okay.
that kind of environment. Um, so things were different. Um, there were times where, um, peer pressure would get into me when I was a kid. So there would be things where I'd be like, yeah, I'm into this kind of band when I had no interest in it at all. But it was one of those things where, like, I kind of push myself to want to know these things so I can, I guess, you know, relate to my peers. You know,
Right. Yeah.
um, so inadvertently, I like gotten used to, and I gotten you know, um, an appreciation for all kinds of music, but it wasn't through like the most like greatest intentions. It was me trying to fit in, but inadvertently, it made me love music like more than anything.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely my teenage years when I started to expand more outside of that. And, being that I had a family, two of my father's brothers, one's younger, who got me into DJing, um, heard all types of music. So that helped open the doors as well. And just so much different types of music to hear. And then being in high school and kind of in a way, early teenagers was a little stubborn with the hip hop because mainly listened to a lot of East Coast stuff, but
Of
it
course.
started to expand more outside of that. And
Hmm.
also New York City underground hip hop radio started to, you know, open my ears to a lot more, you know, international Canadian artists, so
Yeah.
just everything from there, like just expanded a lot more.
And that's beautiful. That's beautiful, honestly. Like how just how we are able to absorb uh music. I don't know how to explain it. I think the way that we absorb music is very, very it's underrated. It's underrated. That's all I want to say. Is that, like, it's I don't think we realize how much our, like, music influences, like, our childhood or our everything
Very true.
involving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
expands our mind. It's weird how, like, when music is played, like, new neurons, depending on what music that you like listen to that is new, especially for a child, it activates a whole bunch of neurons. It creates a whole bunch, like, a whole phenomenon happens in your brain whenever you listen to new music, even if
Yeah.
you don't like it.
Yeah.
It does something that is beautiful. It adds growth.
Definitely does. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And I know in your teenage years, uh, you mentioned when you studied, you listened to a lot of instrumentals.
Yeah.
And this right here
Yes.
is one.
Yes,
If
I
you're big
have
on chill
exact.
hop.
I have that one, that particular. It's somewhere in my room. I have that one in particular. That particular one, for some reason, like, that one hits my soul hard. Why? I don't know. But that one, that Chill
That
Hop
one.
2019, yes.
Hmm.
Yes. A lot of beautiful music in there.
Take us back to those times. How just you listening to these instrumentals. What type of mindset did it put you in, and how did it keep you focused?
So I first got into these, like, instrumentals when I was, I want to say 14, 15, is when I started looking up, like, the karaoke versions of like the songs that I liked. I didn't know they were called instrumentals. I just call it karaoke version. Um, and those things would pop up on LimeWire and Napster, and that's where I would get all my music and all that stuff until they found the ways where you could, like, like, download the MP3 versions of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, that's how I slowly dabbled into that slowly but surely. But it was okay. So growing up, I can remember. Um, I really started getting into it um, when I first got diagnosed with epilepsy. I was 17, turning 18.
Mhm.
That's when I got diagnosed with it, and it caused a lot of how can I say, a lot of introspection that had to happen in order to understand what the hell was going on. And
Right,
the
right.
music, especially, I like, so on YouTube I would look up, like, say if it was there's a producer, his name is Freddie Joachim. I would listen to him nonstop, and it would be like they would consider it the homework edits, the homework versions, which is like the longer version of like their songs. So I would listen
Music
to him.
producer.
Yeah, I would listen to Nujabes, like
Ooh.
a homework version of his. He's the reason why I started creating beats. But and also Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla would have, if you look on YouTube, like they had a plethora of like just long, hour-long versions of his typical songs. Like it would be like, or some people would do like loops of some of the songs in his Donut album,
Hmm.
um, and that would get me by for sure. Um, it allowed me to think outside of this box that I was in, which was my room. Like it just allowed me to process and process and process. It was kind of like I felt like a sage, like someone who like meditated a lot. Um, during that time, but it 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 really helped me cope for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. So it really did a lot for me. When it comes to things like and also like back when I was in I have my bachelor's degree, but because of my seizures and all that stuff, like it took a longer, much longer time to get it completed. Like instead of 4 years, it took 10. But I got it done. Um, but during those times, I would say most of my classes were online, so
Okay.
it was I was at home a lot.
Yeah.
So with that, I listened to a lot of instrumentals during that time, a lot. Yeah.
My youngest son, he's big into Joe Hop, and when he does his work, that's one of the things that he listens to.
It gets the job done.
Mhm.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, for those out there that might also have epilepsy,
Mhm.
what type of words or inspiration would you help them, to get through?
Get through. Um, Understand that yes, we're fragile, but we're very, very, very strong. Very strong. Um, Stronger than we think. Yes, we are fragile. Yes, things can happen, but the things that the body and the mind can go through and still survive is more than we think. Um, so I would say that yes, every case is different, but don't underestimate what the body can do for you
Mhm.
and what you can do for the body too. That's
Yeah.
also very, very, very important is what you can do for the body, but also the body is, I feel like, the human race has been around for so long for a reason. It's because we have these, like, I don't want to say superpowers, but it's like we can get through some crazy stuff and
Right.
still
Right.
survive. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we're hurting, but we get through it. Um, so I would say not to underestimate what you can do for you.
Yeah.
So
I think and I'm sure for you, it had to been scary to at first not know exactly what was going on with your body to finally knowing what it was.
hell yeah. Um, it was so. I don't have the typical ones where I spaz out. They're called partial onset seizures. Um, and mine particularly affect the temporal lobes of the brain,
Hmm.
which affect language, which affect memory, which affect a whole bunch of stuff, right? But what was interesting is that like once I started it's so just a quick rundown. So like people who have seizures, some people like me have these warning signs called auras, which kind of gives us a heads up when like
Okay.
the brain is about to seize up.
Hmm.
Now, when I get these, um, sometimes it does. Like back then, like I would say 9 times out of 10 when I get an aura, like when I had an aura, a seizure would follow probably 10 minutes later. Um, Nowadays, there are times where I'll still get auras, but nothing will happen, which is kind of scary because I'm always like anticipating something is going to happen whenever I do feel it. But it could be just my body. Because when I think of it I guess to describe an aura, it's kind of like a weird, like I usually get like a deja vu or
No,
or
okay.
jamais vu feeling, um, or a feeling of like just something is different, but that something could be anything. It could be
Hmm.
like you know, say if I'm listening to a song I've never felt before and all of a sudden I get chills up my spine. That could be an aura and I don't realize it. I just think it's like, I'm just feeling. So I'm always on high alert for, I'm not going to say no reason, but my body likes to throw out like something might happen. Something might happen. That's like it's very annoying.
Hmm.
Um, so to put my mind at ease, that's what music is for.
That's tremendous. Yeah,
Hell yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah. It's music has been like it's medicine, man.
Yeah,
Music
it
is
definitely
medicine.
is. Yeah.
It is. It
I
is.
mean, not only medicine, but it helps to keep the brain health, the memory going, and they've even had studies for the elderly who had certain type of Alzheimer's,
Yep.
playing music from their past.
It definitely works. It does. Music is yeah, man. Like music is magic. Music is powerful.
Yeah,
People should not sleep on music. Nope. Like there's a lot to be learned about what it can do for you.
yeah,
Yeah. So I can say that music has definitely helped me in many scenarios, um, constantly, and it never fails for me at least. For me at least, the only time it fails is because something faulty happened. Like I don't know, the speakers are not working, my headphones are not working, my phone is not working. Something involving like the technicalities that will like prevent me from like calming down when I listen to music. Um, but if that's not a problem, I'm going to have a good day as
yeah.
soon as I'm able to calm down with my music. Yeah.
Now you said you've always wanted to learn how to play the keyboard. So was getting the Artua key lab one of those reasons?
Yeah, I've so it's one of those things where like I've always grown up with a keyboard. My dad always had a keyboard, even if he never played it. It
Hmm.
was something I've always gravitated towards. It always gave me a sense of comfort, even if I don't know how to play per se. Um, there are times where I would just play the like just random chords that just will just help me de-stress and recalibrate. And my dad, I remember when I was 3, he had this it was like a Yamaha something. It was huge. I want to say it's 88 key keyboard.
Hmm.
Um, I should have treated it better, but I was a kid, so that keyboard did not it saw better days. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot from it. I learned um, just like self taught in a way. Like I think with my mentality, um, self taught has its limitations. So there's a lot of things I know how to do on a keyboard, but to say I know how to play piano, I don't know how to play piano. um, if you know, if you know, say like do an arpeggio, okay, do like a like a minor chord, like okay, I know how to do that. But if you tell me to like play Bach, no, I don't, no, I don't know how to play
Yeah,
that. Um, but yeah, no, like piano lessons was something I've always wanted as a kid, but uh, it just never happened. And then even if that, like when that was like a an objective for me, I guess as I got older, other priorities started getting in the way, and then eventually I just forgot, or it just not really forgot. It just that wasn't like my main thing anymore. That wasn't my main priority.
yeah.
Eventually, like I have the MPC 61 keyboard that I'm still kind of like learning, but once I do have that like setting where I'm able to utilize it, I plan to learn on that. No, yeah.
What was I gonna say? With your listening to instrumentals, like I mentioned before, the connection from your past to present,
Mhm.
what distinctly made you love drums and drum loops so much?
Mm. Honestly, the fact that okay, well, drums, you can't go wrong with drums. Drums is what makes, well, I wouldn't say that. For me, I feel like drums is what makes the genre. It's what makes the whole, not the whole vibe, but it definitely allows stability for the song, and I like that. Like kind of just like like hold it down and be like, okay, this is what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
I love that. Um, the fact that I use drum loops, to be completely honest, is because I'm not confident enough to make my own drum loops myself. Is why I use other people's, like that's why I use like it as if I use a sample. Um, and also due to the fact that I guess I like my craft has solely been chopping when it comes to like the melody, that the creation of the drums has been secondary to me. Have been I have been trying to like I have been slowly like reformatting and rechopping like drums, so it kind of sounds like nice, but I'm not confident in that fully yet because I was
Okay.
so immersed in the melodies that drums became the back burner. But um, that's definitely in my agenda as to like uh, what I'm able to do with my drums.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I plan to get into that eventually.
So, at what point did um did you decide
Mhm.
that you're gonna try your hand at this? Because I know you had some influence from a friend of yours.
Yeah. When did I start it? I'm always picking it up. I'm always like, so when I want to say always, but I'm not going to say always. When did I actually start? I would honestly say about a month ago is when I started like really trying to um, get into the deep aspect of like production.
Hmm.
Um, when it comes to samples, like it was only recently that I stopped using royalty free samples, and the samples that I've been using lately have been on like YouTube. Like it's been coming from like I feel like I'm only one step like away from like crate digging, just one step away. So the fact that I got away from the royalty free sites was like step one, only because like with royalty free samples, 9 times out of 10 the samples are already cut perfectly, so you don't really have to do much to it.
True.
But if you're getting it from YouTube, you're doing all the work. You're finding which part you want to use. You're finding out which part you want to chop. You want to like everything has to kind of be precise, and that's a whole nother learning curve. um, that I'm slowly. not slowly. I wouldn't say that. I'm getting into it, like full speed. Um, but yeah, that has definitely changed how I see music, how I see sound. Um, I'm like, it's kind of like I'm now understanding how people like Kanye got his sound when it comes to sampling certain things. It's not everything has to be like perfect when it comes to chopping. I feel
Hmm.
like they just kind of went with what they felt was right. With me, I've always kind of been systematic. Um, so it's like if I have 16, uh, 16 pads, I just want to like, everything had to be even, right? But what happens with like evenly sound chops is um, there's not much variety as to what you can do with it, if that makes sense. So when things are kind of uneven, um, there's a way that you could swing it. There's a way that you could kind of, it's a whole different vibe. It's a whole, I feel like I said before, like I feel like, I didn't say that I would call myself a producer back then, but I feel like I'm more of a producer now.
Understood.
Yeah,
But when it comes to things like that, it's really your own style and your own creativity. So there really is no perfect way based on how every other producer does it. It's all,
true,
how you present it, how you liked it, how it feels for you.
true that. You're right. You're right on that. You're right on that. True. Yeah, that is true. That's one thing. Like, there's no shade on the people who use like royalty free sites and all that stuff, but I feel like for me, it was part of it had to do with fear of not fear of one the copyright stuff that always like scared me. That was a biggie, and two, it was like say if it say if I came across a sample that like that's another thing about like me is if I come across a sample that is like very popular, or it was from a song that's like um that I have like a lot of respect for, the way that I sample it, I I have to I have to do right by it. So that's more pressure that I add on myself for some reason. Why, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the integrity thing, or the fact that I just want to pay my respects to the people that have created the music. Um, so always I always trip myself over when I sample um, popular or um, songs that that people have a lot of appreciation for. Um, but I'm slowly changing that. I'm just I'm just doing it because I feel
Yeah.
like when it comes to sampling, you're already paying your respects by sampling it. As long as you're just doing it in like a light that kind of,
Respectful manner, I
yeah,
guess. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not letting that bother me as much.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so slowly but surely, everything is a journey. Like
Yeah.
I'm not at my destination yet, nowhere near. But I'm always moving. That's why things are always going.
Now you say you mainly sample from what you find online, like YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, have you sampled anything that you've purchased from Buddha Belly Records?
There are times where I would like go to him to like say if there was like a couple of old records that is from like the dollar bin that
Hmm.
I would sample right then and there. Like there are times where like I have like sampled his records, but never into my 404 for me to like utilize and stuff. Um,
Okay.
but I have seen it like I do know the process. I have done it, and it turns out great. Um, that's another like learning curve too, is sampling straight from vinyl and making because it's not like you can just like scroll and be like, okay, like this is the part I
Yeah,
want.
it's
You
a
have the
completely
kind of
different process. Yeah.
yeah, that's a biggie for me.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's really 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 fun. Especially when you get to play with like the speed and the pitch and all that stuff. Like that's when things start to get like really really exciting. Um, but like that. That's something that I do want to spend more time like learning more. Is not really learning more. It's kind of straightforward, but doing more is sampling from vinyl for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want to play an older track of yours, and after I play it, I want you to tell us,
Okay.
how it came to be and any samples that might have been in it.
For sure. Sounds
All right.
good.
Let me get that up real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so the track I'm about to play is Jermaine.
Yeah, Jermaine. Oldie but goldie.
I was definitely feeling a bit of Nujabes, and the first time I did listen to that, probably about a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
I was thinking of Samurai Champloo as well.
That always has an influence on my music for sure. So those samples were all from, I think they were all from Splice. Like they weren't any, like those were all royalty free samples that I used. Um, besides actually the drums, those are stock drums from Ableton
Wow.
that I use. Yeah, yeah, that I just sampled, like resampled into how I wanted it. But that's what I used for that one. That was the last song I made before I went on a long hiatus, and that was the song that like I thought that I was like, all right, after this, like like yeah, I was gonna be done with music, like because I was just that's a story in itself. Like there was a huge hiatus where I was like, okay, like music is not my journey. Like let
Hmm.
me just go and do what I have to do with like try to find use of my degree, um, and that didn't go anywhere. And then I went back to music anyway. Um, but so with Jermaine, that was a weird period of my life because so Jermaine, um, so Jermaine has to do with J Cole, Jermaine Cole. Um, that's what inspired the beat. To be honest, I was like in a like J Cole is my favorite rapper, but it was that that point where I was like listening to all of his songs like heavily for some reason.
Mhm.
Um, there is a song called "False Prophet" that he that he um that he raps, and the original instrumental is from Freddie Joachim, and it was called Waves, and that was one of the beats that I would listen to on like a long, long, long loop. Homework edit. It was called Waves by Freddie Joachim, and I would listen to that. I have a CD where it's just like a 3 hour loop of that particular um,
Ah,
instrumental, and that really, really made a huge impact. And when I found out that J. Cole, um, I guess, bought his instrumental and made it into a song that, like, what really, really resonated, I was like, damn, I did it. That was the first time where I saw I personally saw like a connection between like a celebrity and an indie artist, and like that I both like that. I was like, oh damn. So like I felt like like a light bulb kind of sparked where it was like there's some possibilities that I guess are you know that are out there that you never know, you know
yeah,
for sure.
yep.
Um, so that I don't know why, and also with the jazz hop. Oh yeah, I guess because I was still into lo-fi, so that's where the whole jazz hop kind of came to be. Like I wasn't really into hip hop when it came to production, at least, um, yet until afterward. But Jermaine was probably my last jazz hop lo-fi esque like beat that I guess stuck to the lo-fi portion more than anything. Yeah. So
And for those that are not familiar, you continue to explore your diverse sound with the EDM producer. You did the remix.
yes, 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 yes.
Tell us about that.
So there's it's called Chinooks. It's by with Koala GC. Um, so the original two that to his okay, so his version of Chinooks was very it's like a ambient EDM where it's very like there's a rhythm, but it's not really a rhythm. It's more like a flow,
Mhm.
and I felt like I was able to use that flow as the backboard to the beat. So I used the backboard, like, so basically I chopped the backboard and then I used two royalty free samples on top of that. And that's how I created the beat. I didn't know where it was going to go. I was just so freaking proud of how it was, how it ended up. And what helped me was when we were talking about the collaboration, um, he was like, "Yeah, just do what you think is best. Like, just do what you think. Like just go with the flow. Like I want to see what you do with it." And I was like, "Okay, cool," because that just opens that just puts my mind at ease a little bit as to where it can possibly go. And
Right.
I didn't think it was gonna flow that well until until it was done. And I was like, oh snap! Like I was really impressed with myself. That was like I have obviously like I collab with like other people, but when it comes to remixes, that's probably one of my favorites for sure that I've done. Um, because it kind of that's what what's funny is that it was a little over a year ago that I released that beat. Um, it kind of it was another solidification that I belong in this field. Like I belong in this field. I'm like, yo, I created something that I would listen to. So I think that I belong in this. Like I felt I felt with it. Like
Mhm.
there's like a flow that I was in after that. Um, and from there, I felt like more confident in collaborating with others after that. He was the second person I collaborated with like ever, because I was always like um, I'm not really when it comes to like collaborating. Um, it was always like a with me because I'm um, contrary to popular belief, I'm very introverted. I don't like constant working together when it comes to projects. Like
Okay.
I like to work with like I'm a person that tends to work by myself often. Um, and that's how I kind of prefer it. But I know that when it comes to like my mission or my goal or like my overall thing is it's community. It's working with like others. It's working. It's collaborating. It's cooperation. Like I love that stuff.
Creative
So
minds.
yeah. So I'm working on it myself. Like these are things that um like this whole music journey, it's not only teaching other people. I don't like to teach like when it comes to that. It's it's mostly for myself. People think that it is like for others, and it is for others, right? But the the whole experience, it's for me.
Yeah.
It's for me. Um, so I think that remix and all that stuff, it just really solidified that I belong in this community. Like I'm part of it. Like I claimed it. Like it said I belong here.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Thank you.
great.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you are still early in your career, so I definitely get it. Wanting to continue to perfect your own craft.
Yeah. No, for sure. And especially when like things are always up in the air as to how I want my direction to go. Like it's slowly shaping into something that I'm now starting getting I'm now starting to get a visual of. Before it was just kind
Mhm.
of abstract. I didn't really have a goal per se because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like when it comes to the music stuff, especially music production, music business, I know no one outside. Like it was only these couple of years that I started getting in touch with people like in real life that know about music
Yeah.
in that sense. Like, besides the actual performance part of it, there's a whole that it's a whole world um that I'm learning about every day because the rules are changing all the time too. So I'm learning new things every single day involving the the indie community, the business involving it, business in general. That's a whole different
That's a different entity in itself. Yeah.
yeah. Like there's people who are like um I would say that I'm like a I'm well versed and I'm pretty talented in my craft, but when it comes to things involving the business, that's not something that like people just know. Like you have
Yeah.
to learn it.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for some people. Like it wasn't easy for me. There was a lot of mistakes that were not really mistakes. It was just one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know next time not to do that. Or now I know next time not to do that.
Experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trial and error, trial and error. It's always like, okay. Like stuff involving, like beat sales or stuff involving working with other artists to create like their EP or their album or something. It's one of those things where you have to keep in mind your uh I guess you can say not just the financial aspect, but how much time you're putting in, how much work you're putting in, how much work that other person is putting in. All of that is, you would think that like there's some things that are like discussed up front, but there are just certain things that you don't really talk about until you get into it, and then you come into snags and all that stuff. But it's definitely a learning process, um, which I'm grateful to. I'm thankful to learn now, um, before things get like extra serious and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely something um, that I will cherish is learning about these things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And another part of that learning process, which I'm sure you're still going through,
Hmm.
you've done a few beat showcases. So
Yeah,
tell us about that also
yeah.
being a learning process.
So my first beat showcase was this year. It was on 404 Day, and it was at the record store that I met these people the first time was this year. I didn't
Wow.
really,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't. This was the first, like, well, last year was when I started, like, I guess started the foundation, but this was the first year where I actually went out and ventured off and actually met people that involve themselves in music, like, um, because they want to, not because it's their job or something. It's because it's something that they're passionate about. I never had that. Um, so that was exciting to not only like perform there, but like to connect with others that have similar mindsets and
Hmm.
similar values when it comes to music. So that was fun. The first time that was fun. The second time, it was in Brooklyn, and it was like a ladies' night. Um, and that was fun because I met up with a whole bunch of other female like producers and all that stuff, and that's obviously cool because we are the minority of like the whole thing. Like
Right,
female
right.
producers, they
Yeah.
they they pack a small portion of the whole community. So to have that also, that was very very meaningful and beautiful to me, um, because I don't see that often. I don't think anyone does. To see a whole group like often at least. Um, so that was the. It was nice. I honestly I valued you. I valued the community aspect more than the performance aspect, more than anything. Not that I like did I like performing? Yes. Did I like showing my music? Yes. But it was the community that meant everything. Um, I was very very appreciative of that for sure.
Cool, cool. Now we've been talking about all this music, and you're also a mother.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about the balance that has to go on in your life because having a younger child and also with the music and then working and everything. So
Yeah. That's
how's that been for you?
it's not easy. Not easy. And like music has been more of not just like a way for me to progress, but it was definitely a tool to keep me sane in my situation. Um, it's I'm not trying to get into details or anything, but like my situation right now is not easy. It's pretty stressful, and music has definitely given me some hope. Not only hope, but more sense of like I feel like when you're lost in parenthood, you kind of forget where you like who you are temporarily.
Mhm.
Like to like the nymph, especially nowadays where like there's less help around like when it comes to the kids, like it's not like daycare is affordable. It's not like um you know a lot of my family they're busy, so it's just it the support is extremely limited. um so to balance all that, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like I see music as my baby, but I also see my son as my baby too.
Mhm.
So it's like I have two kids. But what ends up happening is with two kids and sleep deprivation and all that stuff, like something has to give. And what I've learned is like the thing that has to the thing that never gives is my son. My son never gives. Like I will always have him as like my number one priority. So it's either me and music. And there was a time where I was like, okay, well, I really need to make some music. I really need to make some music. But my health started kind of falling because I was trying to juggle those two things plus
Right.
being sleep deprived at the same time. And that doesn't do well. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to balance when you run like a tight ship in a way. You know what I mean? When there's not a lot of help, there's minimal off time. So it's kind of like, okay, so there are times where I feel like I'm in the groove of things, and there are times where I'm completely lost, and I just have to kind of step back, um, and see what I can do, and then kind of jump in again. But it's not easy, and um, but it's one of those things where it's like, even if there are times where I would question, like, is music the right route for me? Like, because nothing is happening. My like everything is like a chaotic in a way. There's everything is up in the air. But I'm like, it's literally the only thing that makes sense to me sometimes. So it's like I can't let that go. And
Yeah.
even if it's like, so I'm trying to make that, even if it's like, even during the days where it's impossible to make music, um, I try to find some kind of way to, even if it's like organizing a file that has all my songs or something,
Hmm.
something having to do with it. So I feel like even if I have to step away from the music, I'm not really fully stepping away from it. I'm just like compartmentalizing it. So it's still like a priority, but I'm not neglecting myself or my son in the process, um, because myself and my son are the main priorities. Um, so it's music too, though. So it's like
It's
there's
still
yeah, it's
it's
a
a
struggle.
catalyst.
Yes, yes, it is, it is.
Yeah.
But it'll get easier once my son gets older. He turns 2 in 2 days. He turns 2 years
2 days.
old. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so he has some ways to go before eventually. So I like, it's one of those things where like I would get anxious when I don't make music because I'm busy catering to, my other duties that I have to cater to. But I do understand that my son is only this old for so long before he's not gonna, there's gonna be a time where he's gonna be grown, he's gonna be like, okay, mom, bye.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, cherish it.
yeah. So it's a balance. It's a balance. It's always like, okay, like, I feel like being present, especially now, like he's getting more aware of what I'm doing and all that stuff. So me being present in his life is starting to become like more of a, not, yeah, it's a priority. It's always been a priority. But I'm going to be fighting over like the timing with my son in music a little more now because he's more involved. He wants to be more hands on, and that's less time away from my music, just for a little bit
Just a
though.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I know that this is a temporary situation, and eventually I'm going to have so much time in my hands that I'm not going to know what to do with myself. Oh, um, I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy early birthday to your son, and
Thank
also
you.
happy belated to you because I know your birthday was last month.
Yes, it was. It was. It was. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, August, but yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, it is August.
August. August 13th.
Oh, okay. I'm the
Yeah.
22nd.
Oh, nice. Nice. There you go. Awesome. Happy belated birthday to you then.
Thank you. Now, one of the amazing parts of your journey is you are self-taught. So, before we talk about being self-taught in production, what other aspects of your life have you done the same?
Hmm. Like musically?
It could be anything.
Hmm. Okay. Well, let's see. Um. So, see, when it comes to self-taught, I feel like that's the first time I've ever heard someone say that I was self-taught in what I do when it comes to music like this. Because when I think of self-taught, I think of like self-taught when it comes to playing an actual instrument, which I don't know how to play. But when it comes to self-taught, as in like using the 404, yeah, I have been self-taught. So that's
It's still
something
an
that like,
instrument.
yeah, yeah. So I like music is the one thing that I take absolute pride in because that's the first thing that I've actually felt confident, like super confident in what I'm doing. Um, and it provided a lot of like, yeah. So like I'm trying to, I don't know. So when it comes to self-taught, what else have I done? There's really nothing else that I can say that I've been like self-taught in.
No? Okay.
Yeah. Like, see, like now you kind of stumped me because I wouldn't call myself self-taught when it comes to the 404, when it comes to the MIDI, when it comes to Ableton. But yeah, that's the case. So I have to sit on that because that kind of opens the door to what self-taught actually means. So I'll get back to you on that.
I, so tell us your story of during the pandemic of the whole creating music. You know, a lot of people were at home, and a lot of creative minds like yourself, just
Yeah.
began to flourish. So tell us how
Yeah.
it worked for you.
So, it was January of 2020. So it was December, like around Christmas time of 2019 that I created the account for the first time, which is Ellie Rizoa. That's when I started creating like the name Ellie Rizoa. Um, but like that, but I thought of myself as like a fan. So I was just a fan. I was one of those people that would like and comment and create like they were called AMVs at the time, but like
Hmm.
these like videos that kind of go along with the beat, like a visualizer. I was one of
Yeah.
those people that would create visualizers for like the beat makers and stuff. And then there was it was kind of funny now that I think about it, but there was a producer who I guess he wanted to kind of now that I'm thinking about it, it was his way of trying to, I guess, like, um, connect with me. But he was like, "Have you ever considered like producing?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Oh, I could definitely show you a few things." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was, what was, what? It's kind of now that I think about it, I'm like, huh. Um, so I that's when I started dabbling into it is when he's the one who suggested I like, he was like, "Yeah, I could show you a few things, on here. This is how you do this, this is how you do this." And by the time he was getting into that, I was already making the song. He was like, "How did you do that?" I was like, I was just he was highly upset. He was he didn't think I was going to like I didn't think I was going to get into Ableton so quickly and beat making so quickly. But I did very quickly. Um, so to the point where there wasn't much that he was able to tell me about beat making in that sense that I didn't already know. Um, so that right there just kind of made me proud. So that's how I started was me being a spectator, me being a fan, me being a supporter, and then someone suggesting uh, download a DAW, and the rest was history.
Amazing,
Thank
amazing.
you.
One of our company owners, the mayor, he also has a SP 404, and he was mentioning before when I told him I was going to be interviewing you.
Yeah.
He knew about the SP 404, and he actually owns one now as well. So he was saying, can you teach him? Give him some lessons.
Yeah, yeah. I can, yeah, yeah. I can say so. I can say like there's things that I'm still learning on the 404
Hmm.
that like every day. Like just even like the most minor things that like I'll just be messing with and I'll be like, oh snap, I didn't know that that could do that. It does like that. The 404 can do a lot. So yeah, it's it's a learning curve. Um, I have to be confident enough to like to say that I can teach it in order for me to say that yeah, I have no problem teaching him because I have to be confident in like in what I'm doing. I can teach him how to chop on the 404, but when it comes to things involving like how to resample a drum like that that's going to take some time, and that's going to be like I would probably have to revert back and be like, wait, hold on, don't do what I just did, just and then the whole back and forth and stuff. But I I would say by the end of this year, I can definitely say, yeah, I can do tutorials. I can do that, but I can't say that right
Okay,
now. Yeah, to be completely honest.
I'll definitely let him know. Now, with the name Sonic Healer, I have to ask you: are you familiar with the 432 hertz?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Um, I haven't dabbled into that, but yes, yes. I it's awesome how that whole thing like works. How the vibration alone like it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I I haven't like messed with the vibrations in my music yet.
Hmm.
Only because I feel like I don't know how to implement that into hip hop yet. Um, I'm more of like a hip hop sonic killer. So if I could find a way to implement those waves into the, but I don't know how that would sound either. So I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because there are some people that are trying to like trying to listen to some stuff and then they hear some like you know gong. It's like what? So once I learned how to like work it, um, that will be something. What I was honestly thinking of doing in the future is creating like now that you've mentioned it, like the sonic healing has a lot like it's deep in my music but in different ways. And one of the dilemmas I've come across is a lot of my fans they really like the a lot of them are like MCs, a lot of them are freestylers, a lot
Hmm.
of them they're really into the gritty beats that I make that like they do pack like a punch, but they may necessarily not be like um they're not so like maybe it depends on the person who hears it too.
I was gonna say
Um
probably yeah. They don't touch them the same way.
no, they don't. They don't. So that's one of those things where it's like okay. Um my music is really good for people who like to freestyle or people who like to think. But I have come across people who are like, can you make this like beat into like a traditional song pattern where there's the intro and
Oh,
the and I don't do that. I kind of I go with the flow of how I just do it. And there are times where I'm like, I have to. That's the biggest. That's honestly the biggest dilemma I have right now is um, when to cater to what my brain and what my heart wants to like the music to sound like and how to please the people that want to purchase my stuff. um that's a like that's that's one of those things where it's like, okay, like as much as I want control, complete control over my music and everything involving the sound and everything, I do understand that there are people that, are like that's the business aspect of it.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
it's a business aspect. That's a huge thing that I have to really really hone in and be like, okay, like I can still provide for this fan base, but also provide this fan base at the same time. So what I was thinking of doing and is eventually creating like a like it would be like two mixtapes. One of them would be for like the it'd be like for it would be chop therapy for the freestylers, and then the chop therapy for the free thinkers. Where the free thinkers, it'll be a lot more of like the 432Zs, like it will be a lot of chop therapy for sure. The freestyling beats would be a lot more, zesty in a way. Like it'll be, the kind of stuff uh that people would hit me up for like the longer version of, I think that will cater to both people, and I won't feel like I have to choose between the two. And I think that will be a happy medium. Um, and if people want to get both, they can get both. Like, so that's just an idea, an abstract idea right now at least. But I'm leaning towards that.
Nice, nice. For anyone who hasn't been tuning in, Ellie, you it may be early in your career, but you already have a very diverse sound, and that was a great example of what you was explaining. There.
Yeah,
Now I have a question. Do you still own the MP3 player that you played endless amount of loops on from your teenage years?
I do. It's somewhere in my room. It wasn't an MP3 player. It was an old phone that
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah. It's a I have a I wish I could find it. I'm not gonna go in the room, but it has it's kind of crazy because it kind of gives you an idea of where I was like mentally. Like I was my MP well the phone had a whole bunch of house music because that was the era that I was in, and then towards the end, that's when you see all like the instrumental hip hop kind of pop up. It's kind of
Oh,
weird
okay.
how there's a timeline, whether like even if it's not obvious, but there's that a definite timeline of like where the shift started happening. And don't get me wrong, I still listen to like my house music and all that stuff, but it's mostly when I work out. Like it's nothing like if I wanted to actually have a peace of mind. Um, that's that's where the hip hop would come in for sure. Hip hop instrumentals. Um, and in there was a lot of Nujabes, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, he I probably have I can't even tell you how many tracks of his are on that phone. A lot. Um, but yeah, that like hip hop wise, it would be mostly him. You would find on that phone.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Your your life's journey has shown that you've gone through trials, tribulations. You have a child now. You've shown balance, and through all of this, it's not just been the music. It's been understanding yourself and your mind.
Hmm.
So, how did did that also trigger you wanting to be educated on psychology and human behavior?
That's the reason why I got into psychology and human behavior was because I knew I was different. I knew I was different from the very beginning. And my ability to relate to people, I had no problem relating to other people. It's them relating to me. And I
Oh,
would try to figure out, like, why.
hmm.
So I would always study human behavior. to have a better understanding of the people around me, and what they thought of me, and how I can like what I can do to kind of um, get them to see the things that I do. Um, did it help education wise? Yeah, a little bit, but a lot of it, I've come to realize that people are going to see you how they see you, and it you can't really. There's some people that you just can't. They can't justify it. It is what it is,
Very
and
true.
that I had to learn that like the hard way. Um, but I've always been like interested in that aspect only because I've always felt like the odd one, and I wanted to have an understanding as to why. So like I was always the one with the big heart. I was the empathetic one. I was um the one who would the highly sensitive one. I was labeled as those people, but it was because I was like deeply in tune with my emotions. Period.
Hmm.
Um, and they're just like, and it just goes to show that there are some people that have an understanding have an understanding of it the way that I do, but most don't. And I have to like that was a big like understanding, like big reality check is understanding that like yes, there are a lot of people like me, but it's I have to find them. They're probably not going to find like I've been finding them through social media, but
Yeah.
it's not like they're gonna just pop up like daisies. Like I have to that's why community is so like important to me, is that I need to get to know these people. Like it's not like I can't just wait for them to approach me. Sometimes for people like me, I have to like be the one to kind of set the stage and be like, hey, like I'm here. Just you're not alone. Um, so that's what that's what made me like with college at least that's what made me choose that major.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. And with you being an introvert, does that make it a little bit harder to be the one to reach out like that?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where like I'm spiritually extroverted but biologically introverted. Do I like to interact with people? Of course, but do I like my space? Do I like people to leave me alone? Yes. Yes, I do. Um, so it's a battle with that too, because I do like my space, like, but I also do like community. Um, so it's to find a balance in that too. Like there was a huge before okay, so before May of this year, I was very like really community based. Like I was like basically anyone who hit me up on Instagram, like musically, I
Mhm.
we would just chat it up. I met so many people between this year and last year just on social media. Um, just getting to know them personally through DMs and all that stuff. Like I got to know a lot of people, and then it started getting too much, and then the DM started getting less because there were too many people, and I'm only one person. And although I wanted to get to know all of these people, I was losing my mind.
Yeah, it's one too many.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, just last Friday,
Mhm.
you released yet another track with Gutter to Glory Music, City Life.
Yeah, all of those are from it's an EP that we are
Yep.
releasing. Yeah,
Yep.
called Concrete Rose. Um, that was a fun EP to create. Um, it was we were just bouncing off ideas. So like how I normally collaborate with people is they'll either I send them a loop or I'll send them a chop, and they'll send me something, and then I'll send them something, and then they'll send me something, and we just kind of go back and forth until like the song is complete. Um, and that's what me and Gutta did for Concrete Rose, and it's yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
How did you link up with Goddess of Glory?
It was all Instagram. I don't know how we actually uh like fell into contact.
Hmm.
Um, but it was I think it was I don't even know. I don't even know how we started talking. It was definitely it was through Instagram. I think it was one of those things where like he liked one of my stuff or I liked one of his stuff, and then eventually he was like he so there was like what he likes to do sometimes is he'll like throw a something that he did, like it'll be like a sample that he did, and he'll be like, can you do something with it? And I'll say either yes or no, and if it's yes, I'll show him what I can do, and then he'll bounce off of that, and that's how we made the first two songs, and that's how we ended up making the rest of them. It was kind of like okay, so it was one of those. It kind of worked out because it was like a quick exchange of like, okay, can you work with this? No, okay. Can you work with this? Okay, you can. Okay, so let's see what we can do, and then we would go back and forth, and um, that's how we made it. It was good.
And when is Concrete Rose dropping?
Next Friday.
Next Friday. Okay.
Next Friday. Yes. 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 This Friday. Next Friday. This Friday. I might. It could be this Friday, and I don't know. I think it's this Friday. I, g- I gotta double check.
I'll check.
And yeah. um, but it's one of these Fridays. That's all I know. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, I may have mentioned in one of your IG posts that the Many Moods of Ellie, Volume One, is definitely one of a project that I think really personifies who you are. And for
Thank you.
anybody that's been listening or will listen, I think this is the project that they should go listen to if they ask about who's Ellie Rizoa.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That mixtape. Well, that beat tape. That was one of well, that was the first beat tape that I've ever released, and it took forever for me to release it because again, it was one of those things where it's like, oh no, like it's time to release stuff. Like now I have to try to perfect it, and it's like no, with a beat tape, I didn't realize that was the time where I did my research on what an album is versus an LP versus an EP versus a
Mhm.
mixtape versus a beat tape, and I didn't know that there were so many like just release the damn thing. Anyway, so with I figured that the beat tape was probably my best bet because I didn't know like since yes it's all one theme, but it doesn't have like a flow to it. It's just all random beats. So I was like, okay, let's just make this a beat tape. Um, but it was pretty much a compilation of like a lot of the songs that I did um, that I've created reels for.
Mhm.
Um, and it was definitely a staple of my like when it comes to my discography. Um, that's it's up there as in you're right, you've pretty much nailed it as in like if people wanted to get to know like me, um they should definitely listen to that one for sure, so thank you.
Definitely, definitely. Um, Before we go, my last question is outside of music, you got you raising your son, and
Hmm.
You have a lot of positivity going on in your life. What keeps that going?
What keeps that going? The positivity. What keeps the positivity going? Honestly, surrounding myself with the people that that's a rough question. Not really rough, but it does like because I would say that like when it comes to positivity, I'm kind of half and half. I'm more positive when I'm making my music, when it things involving my music, people see like I'm in my element. But
Mhm.
outside of that, you may see a different side of me. I'm very closed off, don't really talk much, stay in my zone. Um, so what honestly keeps me going positivity wise is doing what I do on Instagram, making my music and sharing it with people who I know understand. Like that's a huge, huge, huge thing. Because again, I don't have those kind of people in my life personally, so it kind of gives me a a reality check, like just like a kind of a thing where it's like okay, like it kind of grounds me. It reminds me of the things I'm still capable of doing,
Mhm.
even when I'm in this situation right, that I'm in right now. So it's doing what I do on social media. That's why I say like a lot of it is um, it's less about them and more about what how it's affecting me. Like I do this for me. This is therapy for me. Me making the beats that I do and then posting it and sharing it with people that I know understand. Because if I play it over here, there's a lot of people that would just kind of give me blank stares. Um, it's not like that. It's not like that on Instagram. And I've met a lot of like cool people that way that see things the way I do. So it makes me feel less alone, which makes me feel more positive about me, having a better situation than where I'm at right now. So that's it just makes me optimistic.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, aside from the EP
Mhm.
coming out soon, Concrete Rose, what else can we expect from you? Any more beat showcases?
Beat showcases, that's still up in the air to be honest. I've been so I plan to release a beat tape. Um, if it's not this month, then it is next month. But then after that, I'm going to be on like a short hiatus because I need to really recalibrate, put my health like first. Um, make sure that my because I had to get my heart checked because it was like not there's something wrong with it. What it is, I don't know, but I'm getting tested for that. And when all that is cleared, I know that I have to really put my health like first for a while. So that's going to be my agenda, and then by next year, who knows what will like what will pop up. But music is still rolling somehow, some way. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
All right.
Yeah.
We had some foolishness going on in the comments, so I just banned that person.
Okay.
So anyway, aside from that, we're gonna keep it positive
Yeah. No.
and say
Okay.
thank you, Ellie, for taking
Yeah.
the time to speak with us over at HHDG Media. And also check out her music on Bandcamp as well as Spotify.
Sounds good. Yes. 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 Thank you so much for interviewing me. It really means a lot.
I appreciate it. And, whenever there's the next Peach Showcase, I'll definitely, if it's, in the New York or New Jersey area, I'll definitely try, make it out there and
Yeah.
continue to support. So for the people that are listening, let them know where they can reach out to you.
Thank you. So for those who are listening, you could reach. Uh, so reach the best way to reach me is on Instagram, which is Ellie.Rizoa. Um, But I also have an email. It's contact.ellierizoa@gmail.com. For those who want to contact me that way. So, yeah.
There it is. There it is. We definitely look forward to seeing you again on our podcast. And for everyone that's tuning in, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Much appreciated.
you as well. And for everyone that's been in the comments, that's been supporting and listening since the beginning, thank you as well. On behalf of our HHDG Media crew, we're going to say peace.
Peace.